Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is Nathan Daley. I am your 13-year law enforcement veteran here giving you in-depth insight on law enforcement related issues. Now you guys know I'm going to translate these things for you so that you can digest it a lot easier. Now listen, specifically with this video, we are talking about Brian Laundrie and the Gabby Petito case. Now listen, something about this case never sat well with me and I'm going to tell you why. But before I get into that, it's always been about the timeline. The timeline has been so suspicious as we know that he is involved, but now it looks like he has accomplices. Recently, we know as of today, the FBI have determined that they found remains that match Brian Laundrie. Now listen, they said remains. Just because remains are found doesn't mean there's a body to represent those remains. And this is what got me more interested. Recently, one of my subscribers sent me a video of the body cam of the initial interaction that law enforcement had with Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie when they were in Moab, Utah. Now, what's interesting about that is the officers did not do their job properly. Someone should have went to jail that day for domestic violence. And who should it have been? It should have been Gabby Petito. And rightfully so, if she was arrested that day, there's a good chance that she could have still been alive today, right? And now we don't know that, but what we do know is that law enforcement had an opportunity to intervene and they did not do that. Instead, they facilitated this entire situation. And now we have a person dead, and now potentially we have the suspect that is also dead, allegedly. Now let's rewind that, okay? Let's rewind that. What do we know right now? The FBI have located remains. It's October 21st. Here's my problem with that. The moment Brian Laundrie went missing was September 14th. Now his remains were found October 21st. That's approximately 37 days, you guys. 37 days. You know what that means? That whatever the FBI has a hold of, his remains, you cannot readily identify that body as being Brian Laundrie, right? They just have remains and they have some stuff that belonged to him. There's a strong possibility that Brian has faked his own death, right? And I know this might sound as a shocker to a lot of people, but let me tell you my experience. This is not uncommon, you guys, at all, and it's not impossible. If people have the right resources, the right connection, there is a likelihood that this is a fake body, right? He could have easily used a random cadaver that matches him, right? He could have pulled all his teeth out, got all his teeth removed, right, professionally, and had those things placed at the scene and waited for that body to decompose. It only takes 30 days to really decompose an entire body, right? Halfway, 15 days in, the body on the inside has completely liquefied. Within 30 days, we're looking at a complete physical and chemical reaction taking place. The body has broken down to a totally different substance. We're talking discoloration, sludge, slime, and then within those 30 days, you're talking the nails will fall off and become detached from the fingers. The teeth will then also fall off and become detached from the mouth, the bone, the mandible, right? This is not uncommon for people who know what they are doing. Listen, and I know the feds are on top of it, right? They have to report what they found, but listen, I promise you the feds are not sleeping. This is what they're gonna be looking at, you guys. Hey, does Brian or his family have connections with someone in dentistry, right? Did Brian have or went to school with anybody in dentistry, right? Do they have ties? Do they have financial resources or connections with the dark web, right? There is a black market in this country, guys, or globally, where these type of resources you can get access to if you know the right people, okay? So this is not a surprise. I believe that there's so much more to look into, and I believe the case has just begun, okay? But what I will say is there is a lot to be said about this investigation. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. There are still so many missing people, and throughout this investigation, a lot of missing people have been located. Please look at my other videos. I'm doing one in reference to the 9 bodies that have been located during the case of this investigation. I discussed the incidents involving those victims and how they went missing. Listen, you guys, at the end of the day, my condolences goes out to those families of those missing victims that have been located, right? It's a complete tragedy and it's so heartbreaking, right? It's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But through this incident, so many other families are getting closure as well. And what I will say is this shines a bigger light on a bigger issue that's taking place in this country involving domestic violence, involving missing people, and just overall how we are going to respond to it moving forward. Okay, setting a new precedent. I'm also doing another video in reference to the breakdown of the police interaction that Gabby and Brian had when they were in Moab, Utah. I believe one of the key things in that situation that was missed is that an arrest was not made. And that could be one of the biggest issues within this case overall, all right? The officer's intervention in this situation could have turned this complete scenario around. So with that being said, you guys, let's stay tuned to see what else unfolds involving this case. Stay tuned for those videos that I mentioned earlier. If you are new to this channel, please join, subscribe. Our goal is to get to 1,000 and beyond. So I would love to have your support, love to have you on this journey. Please take a look at the other videos. Love to get your comments in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think it's a fake body? Do you think he faked his death? Do you believe his friends or family had anything to do with it? Let me know your thoughts. And until then, have a good night and God bless.